ones are recorded. President Katz from Classroom Teachers Association and President Gavrilos from the Education Foundation.
Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I wanted to congratulate the new and newly elected officials, both re-elected and first time. Thank you very much for your service, and I look forward to working with you. To get to the point, and I've spoken and reached out to as many of you as possible. I'm here to try to implore you to break the logjam that is the current salary negotiations with CTA. It's clear, I think, to both sides on the negotiations team that we are rapidly approaching a potential impasse situation that no one wants to go down, because that obviously is not desirable to anyone. I would urge you to look at the content I've sent you, to watch the recorded video from the last session that took place on Friday, because I think it gives a fair and honest perspective from both sides, and to simply do the right thing. I think right now, the issue that our side has, and I think that the CTA has with the district, is that it is difficult to do the right thing now, because the right thing oftentimes is not what you want to do. We are in a weird situation in the world, and it is comfortable not to make tough decisions that you don't want to make but might be right. I can talk from firsthand experience as a CTA president that if I took the position that when teachers didn't want to do something, we would have rejected it and refused to do it, you would not have had a distance learning MOU in August. It was more comprehensive than any distance learning MOU in the state of Florida. You would not have had a phase 2 MOU that incorporated simultaneous teaching, which you know nobody likes. You would not have recorded lessons if not for us doing things that we did not want to do, but we acknowledged should be done for the greater good, should be done for the students, should be done for the district. And right now you are faced with the decision to allocate some funds which were already intended to be used for raises prior to COVID, to give a nominal raise to teachers, specifically the veterans who are marginalized by the state legislation that is giving 15% and 16% raises to people that are not even hired yet, but is giving a 1.7% raise to teachers who have worked for you for 30 or 40 years. The basic gist of the request, and again, the video explains everything and shows both sides, is the state has provided 1.7% for veteran teachers. We are asking for a guaranteed 1.8% extra to bring them up to 3.5%. And that 1.8% does not apply to the entire bargaining unit, because almost 5,000 teachers are covered by the state money. They would be excluded. So we're asking for 1.8% for a fraction of the bargaining unit, the veteran teachers who are marginalized by that state law. You can pay for that raise, the 1.8%, out of less money than attrition savings from employee turnover in the bargaining unit saves you from last year to this year. That is a fact. Now, again, going back to my original point, I'm not asking you to like this. I'm not asking you to want this. I'm not asking for you to be comfortable with this. But if you can acknowledge that the facts are the facts, the money is available, and the expenditure of these funds, while you might not want to do it, they will not lead to financial harm for the district. They will not collapse the safety and financial security of the district. What they will do is take your words, your praise of teachers, all of you, superintendents, school board members, staff, your praise is great. But praise does not pay the bills. Praise does not make people feel appreciated in the face of action that might contradict that praise. So what we're trying to do, again, is avoid impasse, which seems likely by your own team's admission at the last negotiation session, and get a 1.8% raise for a fraction of the teachers. That is equivalent to like a 1.2% raise for the entire bargaining unit. It is a deal. You will save $4 million in attrition savings, because we're not even asking you to spend all of it. So again, I think that right now it is easy to do the easy thing, but the easy thing is not the right thing. It is always the right time to do the right thing. And these teachers are looking to you to make sure that they don't have to go to impasse, and they don't have to spend months and months waiting for a raise that they could have gotten back in August if things had been agreed to at that time. So again, I thank you for your time. Please watch the 1-hour session that was recorded last Friday. It will educate you. Thank you.
Thank you, President Katz. President Gavrilos.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Fenoy, members of the school board, and I too want to add my congratulations to those who have been expressed earlier on all of you for stepping up to serve. Member Ayala, it's nice to have you on board. I look forward to working with you as we move into the future. Chairman Barbieri, Vice Chairman Brill, who, by the way, serves on the Education Foundation Board. It's nice to have you on board, and congratulations in your elected roles tonight. Dr. Fenoy, you said something earlier that I found interesting, that these are our opportunities to share our story with the public. Most people associate the Education Foundation with, awarding grants and Red Apple supplies. That's actually the fruit of what we do. What we actually do is connect. We connect the wider community to the world of education. And tonight I want to share with you some of those connections. I would like to say, before I jump into that, what an honor it is, Chairman Barbieri and Dr. Fenoy, to work with your team. There's a group of people who sit back here who don't get a lot of love in the public. And, starting with the Education Network and Claudia Shea and Jordan, Andrew, Kate, and Julie, and the whole team at Communication and the Education Network who constantly help us get our story out. Chief Kitzero and the entire security system here. Mike Burke and Heather Knust on the finance side, who has the ungodly work of coming up with a budget every year. Wanda Paul, Keith Oswald, and someone I've come to just love over the last couple of months of a project we're working on, Mark Howard and Dr. Adam Miller. I don't think you realize how hard these people work behind the scenes. We connect the public to them. Dr. Robinson, you correctly pointed out the importance of reading. This is Literacy Month, and your Education Foundation has ramped up a literacy program for which we're raising funds. And here's some of those connections. The Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County's Volunteer Center has donated 2,500 books, some going to Royal Palm School, the other to a school to be named later. Roots and Wings and Ted Hoskinson's, one of our collaborative partners, has donated 7,000 books to Red Apple Supply. Every teacher who comes will be getting a book bundle of 25 books. Most of you are aware, a second program we've been working on, helping the digital inclusion campaign that really Mark Howard and Dr. Adam Miller have spearheaded. Some of the community partners who have stepped up, the Stiles Nicholson Foundation for $100,000, the Walton family for $100,000, the Pew Fund for $100,000. I can happily announce, it's public now, that the Frederick DeLuca Foundation is in for $100,000. The Miami Dolphins are in for $100,000. Florida Crystals, Lost Tree Village, all of these community partners connecting to the world of education. And so, Chairman Barbieri, that's really what we do. Yeah, we award grants. Yes, we run Red Apple Supply. But ultimately, we bring these amazing business partners, and we just connect them to these people who do incredible work day in and day out. The final little announcement I can finally share, I was bursting last month but was sworn to secrecy. One of our great community partners is Bank of America. They are as devoted to public education as anyone we know. Bank of America awards annually a Neighborhood Builder Grant. They select a nonprofit in our community. They award them a 2-year grant of $100,000, as well as special leadership training for 2 leaders within the organization. I can happily tell you that this year the Education Foundation was named as the Neighborhood Builder. And we want to thank Bank of America for the trust they're giving us. We will be using their grant to continue our transformation of Red Apple Supply. It's Red Apple Supply online and on the move. As the coronavirus continues to affect us, almost all of our Red Apple supplies are being delivered now. Teachers are able to get online and place their order, and we're doing everything with contactless delivery. So your Education Foundation continues to transition with the help of these amazing community partners. Thank you to all of you who make the work magic, and thank you to our community partners. We are your Education Foundation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for everything you do for us. Board members, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 recorded messages. So would the IT department please those 6 from the elected officials and delegates who are on our list?
Good evening, school board members and staff. This is Laura Feldman. I am talking to you as president of Palm Beach County Council of PTAs, PTSAs. So I want to begin my statement tonight with letting you know that Florida PTA has sent a letter to the governor and also to the Florida Board of Education, and I'm going to read parts of this letter to everyone. The Florida Parent-Teacher Association appreciates and supports how the Florida Department of Education Emergency Order 2020-06 made possible locally developed innovative learning models for successful, safe openings of schools in all our districts. And it goes on to say, while innovative models and safety protocols continue to be adjusted by superintendents, school boards, and local health officials, Florida PTA asks to continue the emergency order to the spring semester with consideration of the following. Parental choice should not be restricted nor schools financially penalized for parents who wish to continue virtual or hybrid virtual instruction. Schools should continue to be held harmless from any budget cuts this school year due to the fluctuation of enrollment numbers and type of instruction. The state should review the number of required assessments and limit them only to those required for graduation or promotion and come into complete compliance with the minimum requirements of the federal Every Student Succeeds Act of the Elementary and Student Education Statutes. Also, assessment should be helpful to meeting the needs of our students and families and regarded appropriately in the current environment. While state required assessments are scheduled for 2021, use of those results should hold students, teachers, schools, and school districts harmless from any penalty or reclassification. The waivers granted in 2020 should be continued for the rest of the 2020 to 2021 school year. Any required assessment results should enable districts to determine the level of need and resources, funding, and instructional time to catch all up to 2019 levels and beyond over the next 1 to 2 years. The state should give districts flexibility in the use of state, federal, and local dollars to provide for increased instructional time to state standards time, for example, the length of the school day, so that the students can bring any deficient schools or knowledge to state standards and close the achievement gap. Thank you. We also ask for the increased transparency and empower stakeholders through timely reporting. Thank you very much.
Good evening to school board members and Superintendent Dr. Fenor. I am Joaquin Almazan in my community outreach role for our labor union called the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, or locally known as I Am Sugar. I am pleased to be here with you today to celebrate history in making. I'm a constituent of School Board Member Andrews that includes the Glades region, and I am here to show support from our Glades community, our Hispanic community, and our union community. We are proud of newly seated School Board Member Ayala, as she is the first female elected into the 10th largest school district in the nation. This is history. As someone who grew up in the Glades and my children attended the schools, the fair and landslide election of Ms. Ayala is changing the narrative of an underrepresented ethnic group by beginning to receive representation. She gives many of us here hope to work in a climate of respect and fairness to what is important to our educators and students. Thank you. Joaquin Almazan.
Delegation, Dr. Joaquin Garcia, Chair of the Hispanic Education Coalition of Palm Beach County. Good afternoon, members of the board. I'm Dr. Joaquin Garcia, Chairman of the Hispanic Education Coalition of Palm Beach County. Today is a great day of celebration. The Hispanic community of this district will be represented in the school board by one of our own, new board member Alexandra Ayala. Smart, professional, dedicated, and passionate. She has the support of the Hispanic community. She brings to the board the perspective of multiple Hispanics that for many years have felt abandoned and without a voice. She also provides a bridge to a new generation and has a unique understanding of how education must adapt to meet the needs of changing environment, changing economic factors, and changing demographics. The Hispanic community thanks all board members who have provided unwavering support to the Hispanic community in the past. Particular appreciation goes to Mrs. Marsha Andrews, who has served as our liaison to the board and has been an advocate for all students, and to Mr. Barbieri, who has been attentive to the needs of the Hispanic community and committed to equity. We hope that all board members continue this work and partner with Mrs. Ayala in solving the many issues that challenge our community. The board will now have a partner in the fight for equity and representation of all children without leaving the stories and the needs of Hispanic students and the Hispanic community behind. I also want to extend my congratulations to re-elected board members, Barbara McQueen and Chairman Barbieri. You have our appreciation and support in the difficult work you do. The Hispanic Education Coalition wishes to extend a hand of partnership to all board members in continuing the sacred work of helping all students reach their full potential and become a productive member of this great community. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Carlos Diaz, Chair-elect of the Hispanic Education Coalition and Professor Emeritus at Florida Atlantic University. First, I want to say that I am sorry I cannot attend today's meeting in person, so I'm leaving my voicemail. I want to say individually and on behalf of the Hispanic Education Coalition, I would like to congratulate Alexandria Ayala as the first elected Latina member of the Palm Beach County School Board. We're very proud of you, and we look forward to working with you and all the members of the school board to continue to improve education for all the students in the school district of Palm Beach County. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Calloway, and I am speaking on behalf of the Coalition for Black Student Achievement. The impact of COVID-19 on the African American community has been considerable, but its adverse impact on the education of Black children has been devastating. It is undeniable that even before COVID-19, Black children suffered academically as a result of an inadequate and inequitable education in this district. The impact of substandard instruction, inattentiveness to their emotional needs, and unfortunately systemic racism has resulted in the chronic low academic achievement and underachievement by far too many of our Black students for far too many decades, and with far too few effective measures to reverse this trend. As an organization, the Coalition will continue to focus our attention on the intersectionality of systemic racism and the quality of education that Black students receive in Palm Beach County. You may be weary of hearing the Coalition's unrelenting focus on systemic racism in this district, but it does exist in spite of the work of many well-meaning district and school staff. Therefore, it is necessary for us to do, as long as racism diminishes the educational progress and emotional well-being of Black students, as long as it affects how our Black children feel about school, and as long as Black parents feel disparaged and have little trust that the school district cares about what happens to their children and their advocacy for their children. It is within your power and your obligation to confront the insidiousness of systemic racism in the district and how it impacts the education and lives of children. It is within your power and obligation to fearlessly confront it at all levels in this district. It is the obligation of the district leadership to create a concrete roadmap to address this issue and to put in place clear lines of accountability. The Coalition sincerely credits this district for the positive steps it has already taken and is committed to continuing to take in the future. However, the Coalition will continue to vigorously fight for Black students in all aspects of their education. Thank you very much.
Distinguished members of the board, good day to you. My name is Jennifer Jones. I am the Public Relations Director with the Volunteer Association and Fund of Florida, a nonprofit organization working right here in Palm Beach County. I want to thank Dr. Robinson for the tireless work that she's done in our community in working with us to bring our issues to the forefront. The reason why we want to address the board is to remind you how important it is to keep your Haitian children and the Haitian children's families in the forefront of your mind during this pandemic. We are experiencing a lot of strife in our community, and we definitely need to make sure that the school board district remembers that your Haitian population is a community that is in crisis and that needs to be addressed. The Haitian population is the largest immigrant population in Palm Beach County, and we need a Haitian dual language program in our schools. And we understand that the pandemic has made it difficult to make these things happen, but it is not impossible. And we count on you, school board district, to make sure that our children are not left behind. It is important also for us as our community that we see more Haitian representation in your staff. And we're not talking about just the support staff with the custodial and the bus attendants, but in teachers, in guidance counselors, in assistant principals, and in principals in Palm Beach County. Our children rely on that representation, and the parents are trusting us as their leaders to make sure that their children are in an environment where they can grow and they can excel. And we know that having more Haitian representation will do that. We want to make sure that our Haitian families receive the support that they need during this time, including tutoring, including the support at home with computers and laptops, but also making sure that the children are on track, because it is sometimes difficult in the Haitian household to make sure that everything that is conveyed virtually is retained by the child. So this just highlights the importance of having more Haitian on staff and of having a Haitian dual language program in Palm Beach County. And so we come before you as a community leader, as an organization, to remind you of the importance of caring for our children and our Haitian families, and to promote this Haitian dual language program, as well as more Haitian representation in your staff, especially in administration. Thank you.
Board members, we have no agenda topic speakers, so moves us to the consent agenda. Does any board member wish to